Hello everyone, this is Christian Maledicts Interactive, and in this video we are going to build on what we did in the previous video. So in the previous video we found out that we could not just use as an iQueryable object as a source for our asynchronous sort of to-list async method. We found out though how to convert our list into a database, a mock database set that we could use these asynchronous methods on. But of course, as you can see, we saw in that video, there's a lot of boilerplate code to write, and this for loop is pretty common to create data for our data sets. So in this video, what we're going to do is work on taking all of that and combining it down into creating a context using several methods. So a method to create the data, an extension method to convert it to an async capable data set, and then having it all contained within a repository instead of having hard-coded DB sets. Alright, so let's go ahead and get started here. So if you remember from the previous video, this is where we sort of left things. What we're doing is creating some articles and then in a list, and then converting that list to be the data store for a mock database set that we can use the async methods with, the Entity Framework's async methods, or in this case the to-list async. And of course, this is a lot of boilerplate code. We would have to do that for every database set that we want to create. So of course, that means that we should extract this ugliness into its own method. And then the way that I'm going to do that is by creating an extension method for it. So I have this empty file here for just that purpose. So let's scroll back up to where I belong. And this might be easier. Let's just take all that out, and we'll come over here. We're going to create a public static mock, and it's going to be a DB set type T. I'm going to call it to async DB set mock. Just to make it as long as possible, we'll say this IEnumerable full of type T. We'll call that source. Let's do our importing here. So enumerable. So just generic collection using mock and Entity Framework core. Let's go ahead and put this in here. Data. Let us now, I'm practicing here, remembering things, how to do this. So we'll convert article to T everywhere. So that's good. I think we need an import system.link, and because I named it something different so in the article I named this thing that we right now have as DB set mock. Oops, I want %s DB set mock. I wanted to convert that. I just called it mock set. So in case you look at that, and this thing of course needs to be source and mock DB set of T. Why are you giving me a little error? Oh, because I did forget that we do need the where T is a class. We need it to be a reference type. So there we go. Last but not least, we need to return our mock set. All right, so now we've just created a generic extension method on IEnumerable to convert it to this mock DB set. So we'll return to our page here, and we can now say that I guess we'll just crunch it down here, and this will just be articles dot to mock dbset or dbset mock, and we'll save that. Ignoring this is where we're going to end up in the video. So we see now we still have our data in our being displayed. And just so you know, we did in the previous video, the view for this is just simply iterating over the articles and spitting out the title. So we are good to go there. Now, a couple of things. I do want to change a couple things. So first off, so this article, the class that I'm using, is from a video several videos ago in which we created a actual database and used Entity Framework on it. So this thing is from something previous. I kind of want to not mix things up. I should have done it in the previous video, but what I'm going to do is just convert this article into this mock async article, which just has a property for title. So we'll change that, we'll change that, change that, just has a title, and we need to change that. All right. Now I also don't want to make the mistake of, while I was going through this, of somehow in my mind, subconsciously knowing that there's just one of these things and making a mistake in that case. So what we're going to do is create a second one, and so we have authors, our articles. Let's make an authors one, which means we'll come up here, private, read only, dbset, mock async author, authors. Do basically the same thing. So authors equals new list of mock async author. Perfect, and we'll do 4. No help. What's going on? Equals 1 I less or equal to 20 I plus plus. So authors dot add new mock async author. We'll just set the what is the name on it? I think. Yep, name is equal to, as I mentioned several times before, apparently super vain, want everyone to know my name, Christopher Jamel, and I go by Chris though, so no Christophers. So there's that, and we want to set then our authors is equal to authors dot to our mock DB set and the object. Perfect. We also need our prop. If I have a prop, I do. A list mock async author, author, and authors. So authors will wait. Authors dot to list async. Save. Now back to that original page that we were talking about, and I need to add in a bit here. It's the same as that one, so we'll just copy it. So we're just looping over the authors, printing out the name. Save that. And now we have the title for the articles, 20 of them, authors, 20 of them. So we're doing well. All right, so next things first, or next things next. One thing that I should have mentioned in the previous article or video, and I've kind of forgotten until now to mention it in this one, is that I would generally never do this. Not generally, I would never do this. And that do this is meaning convert or take directly the information from the database, so the class that represents the information in the database, and set it directly to whatever is either going to be displayed in the view, or it's even worse if it's a web API that's sending out the information as maybe JSON. What I would do is to create a proxy class, and then that would be, in the database here, I would do a select and project that into the proxy class, and then set that equal to whatever the property or the thing that's going to be sent out as JSON. That way I can be sure that the information that goes out is only the information that I want and is not everything. A lot of times there's going to be stuff that you don't want exposed, and you know, I'm not following the rules here at this case. So next thing's next. So you can see here that we're doing these for loops. This, in my mind, is a very general thing to do to create the data for the database, right, or data set. So we're going to make it easier to create the data. We're going to go back to our mock extensions class, and typically when I say something extensions, I'm going to basically put only extension methods in it, and I was good up until this point, but now we're going to add in another method here that's not an extension method. I can't be bothered to change this name and then update the article and all that, so we're going to leave it as is. But let's do public static. This thing's going to give us a list of T. We're going to call it create mock data. You're going to give me the count, how many you want, and so inside of here we're adding, right, new whatever, right, to our list. So there's not really there's two ways to approach that I know of or can think of in C# to do this. One of them deals with, you know, reflection, and we would not get any compile time help. We would only get a runtime exception if we made a mistake. So we're going to go a route that I would prefer to use, and to do this. So what we're going to do, in addition to passing in the count, we're going to pass in a func, and that's going to take. If I wanted your help, I'd ask for it. It's going to take in an int, spit out a T. I called it generator, yeah. And we're going to need system for this. All right, so what we're going to do then is var data equals new list of T, and I made list of T. It's up there. Stop adding stuff. I do need. Oh, that's fine. All right, and okay, so we're good there. Now what we'll do is to our for, so var I equals 1 and I lesser equal to count I plus plus data dot add, and here we do generator, pass in the I. Perfect. And the last thing we need to do is return the data. So now we'll go back to our code behind, and we should be able to just get rid of this, get rid of that, and we'll do, I should have kept part of those. Let's do this. We'll do mock extensions dot create data. Give me 20 of them. How do you make them? You make them by doing this. Right, we need to convert that to X. So our problem is that the name that I've made, mock extensions, actually exists within the mock package. So we don't need mock in here anymore anyway, so we'll remove the using statement. So now I think I should be able to get rid of that. We'll return back to grabbing this. We will get rid of this. Mock extensions dot create data, 20 of them. How do you create them? By doing that. Again, this needs to be X, and we can get rid of that. Oops. So hopefully I have not made a mistake here. It's rebuilding, started, everything's good. Refresh. So everything is created, still there, working well. And it's a lot better here. Next thing though that we're going to fix is, in a real world situation, I would not have a bunch of hard-coded DB sets in here. We would create a repository. That repository would implement an interface. We would then use that for purpose of dependency injection. In this case, we are going to just use a repository, but we're not going to go through the whole dependency injection part of it. I was going to say I've already added the things that I needed, but I skipped that part apparently. So what we're going to need here is, come down here. So public class mock async context. It's going to inherit from DB context. The only thing we'll have in here is a couple of props. It's going to be a DB set of mock async article and articles, and a prop DB set mock async author and authors. All right, we have those. Got that. Next up is going to be a public class mock async repository. It's going to be disposable. Put that down there. Give it to me there. So private read only mock async context. And we need our constructor now. Mock async repository. We're going to pass in a mock async context. Set our context equal. Perfect. Moving right along, what we'll do is just, once we have it here, context. If it's not null, whoops, dispose. Last but not least, we need access to the data. So we'll have a public DB set. This one's a mock async articles. Just spits out the context.articles. Public DB set mock async author. Authors gives us. Perfect. I think our repository is good. We're going to see here in just a second. Steal this one, mock async repository. And we don't need that one. So what we do need is to create the context, right? Which equals new mock async context. Stop it. Semicolon. Steal all of this, put it up here, do some formatting, change that to a comma, get rid of that, articles, authors. Now we can do repository equals new repository, pass in the context. We are cooking right along. We need our repository. This one's the articles. And we need our repository. And this one's authors. All right. So now I think we have created everything we want. One way to see it is if we save and wait for it to compile. I'm just looking at the little list there. See there's an error. Nope. And if we come back and refresh, we still have our articles. We have our authors. Just to see, let's create 21 and 22 of these. Right to it refreshes or restarts. 21 articles, 22 authors. So that's all working right. We're going to put that back the way it's supposed to be. Right, so what we've done now is made it a lot easier to create our, well, basically what we're doing is creating data, converting that data to something that can be used in an asynchronous way, and this object. So there's a few things we have to remember to do, right? So I don't want this video to be too long, so in the next video we're going to make it easier basically to create this context, right? There's a lot of steps that you have to jump through to do it. But also we'll take care of, right now what we've done is basically all of our data sets, they basically only contain, I guess, scalar values, and that's not going to be the case probably normally. Normally the data will contain, should that be indented? Data will contain, so for instance, authors might have a navigation property for all of their articles, right? Right now we have no way of doing that. So in the next video, along with making it easier just to create the context to begin with, I think this one needs to go out. That would make me feel better. Then we'll be able to we'll create a way to create a context easily and handle the case in which we want to have some navigation properties between the data sets. But again, we'll take care of the next video. Thank you for taking the time to watch the video. If you have any comments or questions, suggestions, please leave them in the comments section below. Otherwise, I will talk to you in the next video. Thank you for taking the time to watch our video. I know that your time is valuable. If you liked the video, please subscribe to our channel and click the thumbs up button, as well as share the video with your friends. If you have any comments, questions, or suggestions, please leave them in the comments section below. And once again, thank you, and I will talk to you in the next video.